Hello gamers, it is Gold Demon back with another Honkai Star video. Today I'm going to be talking about the whole Fate collab, everything we know about that. There's a bit of controversy, I'll tell you that right now, about how the Fate collab is actually going to function. And it's entirely based on the fact that, well, first off, we have new information about free items. And it's going to be the Archer's Lycon. I'll get to that in a second. But I just wanted to look over it because, it's a really cool event, right? So we obviously have our two collab characters. We now have the information that Archer, right, whenever he does become free, will also have a level up pack to level 60. Very similar to the way they handled Asaba and Zenless, right? Whenever he was given up for free, they gave you universal resources to use for whatever reason, but obviously it's intended to be used for the free character. So this is a really nice bonus, right? We have the two limited light cones, which of course, right, one of them is going to be free with some stipulations that you spend enough currency, which we'll talk about in a second. I've already yapped about it a little bit on my stream, but we're gonna mention that once again here, right? We have the two limited banners, which the important thing to note here is that, or I guess four limited banners, all four of them do not have featured 4 stars. So there are no uprated characters. It's just the limited 5-star character, which is very interesting that there's just 0 featured 4-star characters. So you're not going to be able to like target or like Ting Yun, for example, right? Nothing like that. Which, granted, obviously meta wise, 4 stars aren't the most important in modern Star Rail with how power creep has been going, but it is just worth mentioning that there's no featured 4 stars, so everything has an equal chance, right? You want to keep that in mind if you are wanting a specific 4 star or hoping to get a specific 4 star on these banners. It's just not there. Uh, Even the weapon banner, so it's going to be completely random. There's going to be a special event, right, made around Fate. It's the Fate Stay Night event, right? This is going to be an event that's kind of like Divinity Universe that we have right now that you do weekly, but just a mode tailored toward Fate. And we're also going to get some unique items that are going to be permanent, of course, for the buffs. You know what those buffs you can put around the map, right? The decorations that you get for just doing Similar Universe. That's what we're going to get here with these two items, right? We have Saber's Scabbard and a Commandment Seal, right? So that's pretty damn cool. And of course, the collab is going to have its own story. It's going to be a Trailblaze continuance. And they recommend you do the introduction missions to Pinacone and for whatever reason, Rappa's mission. Not sure why that is, but yeah, cool. Those are the main details, of course, right? We obviously have the characters and the light cones and all the character buffs happening next update. But of course, this video is focused on Fate, which is why we start off with that. That being said, time to get into the actual details of this, right? So they do mention a couple things that I do think are worth mentioning, and so I'm going to let it play out here so you guys can hear it from Hoyoverse themselves on what is actually going to be happening with the free character that we're supposed to be getting from the live stream that they announced, way back, right, during the anniversary, as well as a couple other details for clarification, right?
Collab event starts on July 11th and until the end of version 3.6, Trailblazers can log into the game to claim the limited 5-star collab character Archer for free!
Oh,
Nice.
awesome!
We hope that, under Archer's protection, every adventure that the Trailblazers embark on will cleave open the dark clouds and become a saga sung throughout the cosmos. We also hope that your encounter, or for some of you, a reunion, with the servants across this vast universe will bring you all wonderful memories in the days to come.
Oh, yeah! How about that? The free new limited 5-star character mentioned during the anniversary celebration is finally here as promised.
Actually, there's even more! Later this year, Trailblazers will get another brand new limited 5-star character totally for free!
Wow, awesome!
But let's keep our eyes on the present for now.
Yeah, so you heard it from Hoyoverse themselves, right? Archer isn't, well, I mean, at least my perspective, isn't the free one they intended, right? Yes, Archer is free, but, again, their words, we're getting another free new limited character, right? Which can be any of the upcoming characters. I do not expect it to be Sairi, by the way, because Sairi is going to be Elysia. That's going to be their big money maker. But it could be one of the characters in 3.5, let's say, or one of the characters in 3.6. Let's say we get a new March, maybe it's her, right? Or the one remaining Kratos heir, right? Like It could be any of those characters. We don't know who's going to be in 3.7, right? Or 3.8, if we even get to a 3.8. So there is a lot of room to have for another free character this year, right? Just this year alone. If we look at this chart, for example, right? 3.8 is when we would go into back to Pinacone, I believe, right? Or maybe in 3.7. But again, at least where we are now, right? It's June 20th, right? So we're right here on this chart. And this is when the Fate collab is going to be, right? It's going to be starting from the 11th onward. And the last day to get Archer is going to be the end of 3.6. That's going to be November 4th, right? But he'll be free throughout all that. And his light cone will be, quote unquote, free during 3.4. But any of these characters, 3.5 onward, this year, mind you, so the next 3 updates after 3.4, we're getting another free limited. So I do think that's very interesting. I'm very curious who it's going to be because I do not expect it to be Cyrie, but that is pretty nice. You can ignore that. I have somebody's take pulled up because something else. So moving forward, Lancer does make an appearance in the event for any Fate fans. It's just he seems that he's locked to being an NPC. As far as I know, he's not going to be playable. They did not announce he's going to be playable. And I've had a couple people in my comments already, do like Lancer cope sessions talking about how he's going to be the free limited character. I highly doubt that, right? Uh, yeah, I don't have any like way to disprove that. I just highly doubt he's going to be the free limited character upcoming. I don't think it's gonna be playable at all. I'll be honest. I think he's just gonna end up dying like he did in the show, and get shafted again. Like this Lancer just keeps getting shafted every opportunity. I think they're gonna do it again. Maybe he'll become playable later, but I just kind of doubt that. He doesn't look playable in my opinion. Right? That's here nor there. I just do think it's worth mentioning that Lancer does make an appearance as an NPC inside the story. I don't know if he makes any relevance like to the event, but there is that. So going back to the bulk of this video and why I'm talking about it, it's actually going to be this free Lycone here and this thing that's going on with the free Lycone, right? And I do want to pull up a comment from somebody that has commented about this specific thing because I do think it is interesting. Let's actually go pull it up here. It's from my own video. Oops, I did not mean to close out about that. I should have had this open beforehand. There we go. Let me just go back to this.
Five-star character
Cool.
mentioned during the anniversary celebration
So,
is
on my own video, I already had somebody comment this, and I do think it's a very interesting comment and a way to like sort of talk about this. So about the 200 light cone thing. So the 200 Archer light cone has oh my god, I can't read. Has me extraordinarily mixed on opinion. On the one hand, it's a free light cone for a collab character who is actually very good. And the light cone is actually great on a universal level as long as you own Sparkle. I can't knock that. It's great. On the other hand, there was no information about this until the live stream, so the players who emptied their savings are either forced to top up to obtain this free light cone or have to resign or oh my god, resign to keep it. I don't know. That just could be like a grammar thing. I honestly don't know what they mean by that, to be honest with you. I could just be reading it wrong, to be fair. I am dyslexic, so. We weren't given sufficient amount of time or resources to be able to make a smart choice given the information, which is pretty disheartening. Imagine they do this randomly midway through 4.x, where there wasn't a hint that you'd be saving Jades for something like this. That'd suck. That, and the more concerning reason to me, which is the way they are giving this free light cone, is by essentially making the player give away their savings. While not the same, this reminds me of Castor's Global Passive, where the net benefit to your account because the devs decided that you should be pulling at a certain time. The difference is the time frame, not the character this time, but still, it sets a little bit of a worrying precedent. And I do agree. I mentioned the same thing. The time frame is quite short, despite the fact that they did say the celebration does last longer than 3.6. They did clarify that, and I'll get to that in a second. And the amount is pretty high as well. 200 pulls within 3.4. That's quite a lot. A lot of players, if they've been pulling regularly and not playing their pulls like I would recommend everybody do, they probably won't be able to get this for free, right? I can't call it negative though, as we are quite literally getting something essentially for free, and it's very good something. is just something that took extreme caution with going in the future. Yep, and I agree. I did also mention the same thing at the very end here. I've got a bit of a yap session that I will let myself play out as well, because that's like the main thing is like like with the castorized thing and how everybody had a negative reaction with it. This again, I also agree is kind of a mixed feeling because we didn't know about this until now, and also the time frame and the amount of pulls is quite high. I would say personally, right? It's not going to be something achievable for all players, right? If it was like, let's say 100 pulls, then free and easy, right? It's not that big a deal. If it if it lasted throughout the time Archer was free, which is in my opinion what it should be, that would be even better, right? Because then you've got 3 updates worth, right? 3.4, 3.5, and 3.6 to pull on a limited banner, right? 200 updates, or sorry, 200 pulls over 3 updates. That's more reasonable, right? But it's only the 1 update. So this is really only there for the people that um, were already planning the pull on the banners immediately, and or the whales, right? That's pretty much what it is. And they do clarify here over the banners at some point. I don't remember exactly where. Um, I can honestly just let this play.
Finally here as promised.
Actually, there's even more! Later this year, Trailblazers will get another brand new limited 5-star character totally for free!
Oh, awesome!
But let's keep our eyes on the present for now. I'm not quite done yet. Besides claiming Archer for free, Trailblazers can also directly obtain a set amount of character enhancement materials for Archer.
Wow, how thoughtful.
Yeah, this version's got a lot of characters to level up after all.
All right, now let's check out the banner details. Once the collab starts on July 11th, Trailblazers can use Star Rail special passes in the character collaboration warps Excalibur Excelsior and the Bone of My Sword to obtain the limited 5-star characters Saber and Archer respectively.
They'll mention it, and I actually forgot. It's separate pity, by the way. So for both banners, right? Separate pity. So if you were trying to build pity on the current banners, it does not apply here, right? So keep that in mind. Do not be building pity. First off, I would recommend building pity is a lie in the first place. I wouldn't recommend doing that ever. Only pull if you want the limited 5-star, but then also these have separate pity. So you got to make sure you reserve stones specifically for this banner to get the 5-stars, right? And it's the same way for the weapon banners. Weapon banners also have separate pity. The pity is shared between the collab banners, though. So if you're pulling on Saber and let's say go back to Archer's banner, that does count, right? So those two will share pity. Same thing with the weapon banners, just not with our current banners, right? So it's pity for events, or I guess for the collab, it's a collab pity and your regular pity. Did I not?
In the Light Cone collaboration war, Trailblazers can get the limited 5-star Light Cone, A Thankless Coronation from Birth of a King, and the limited 5-star Light Cone, The Hell Where Ideals Burn from Red Radiance of Fuyuki. In addition, pity counts are shared between the character collaboration warp banners and also separately shared between the Light Cone collaboration banners, but neither carries over to other types of warps.
Oh, okay.
It's worth mentioning here that the character and Light Cone collab banners will stay open long-term after the event starts.
Does long-term mean even after versions 3.4 or 3.6 wrap up, you can still pull Saber, Archer, and the limited 5-star Light Cones?
Exactly. These collab banners will run across multiple versions with no fixed end date yet.
Oh, nice!
That's the main thing I wanted to point out as well. There is no end date for these banners. They straight up just said there that they will last longer than 3.6. So if anybody is interested in them, well, you got plenty of time. You got looking like 4+ updates, right? So that is very interesting that there is no set end date. I am curious though if it's gonna, effectively end up being permanent, or if it's just gonna randomly end at some point, right? They're gonna have to announce that. And again, they do specify yet, right? No set end date yet. So yeah, plenty of time to pull for them. We just don't know when, if at all, it's gonna end. But it is implied that it is going to it's gonna last for a very long time.
And here's one more piece of news for you all. Throughout the entire duration of version
Free Lycon.
3.4, using Star Rail special passes for your warps will bring some special limited time discounts. After the collab event starts, when Trailblazers spend a designated number of Star Rail special passes, they can directly obtain the limited 5-star light cone, the hell where ideals burn.
Throughout all of version 3.4? In other words, after the 3.4 update and before the collab event starts, any Star Rail special passes used in the banners for Finan or other rerun characters will still count toward the total, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Oh, yeah!
And now, as the collab kicks off, the voice actors for Saber and Archer have some things they'd like to say to all of us.
So yeah, those are the main details of the actual banner. Now this right here is the point that's sort of controversial with people going on, and I didn't mention this beforehand, is that it is nice, of course, that we're getting the Lycon for free, but it is unfortunate that not everybody's gonna be able to take advantage of it, right? That's like the main thing, and that's why I want to specify this video that, of course, there's a free banner, and it does work with any of the banners. So like you can summon for Kevin day one, and it's gonna count towards this, right? They do say that. But the issue comes is if people don't have enough summons, right? Or like let's say you get an early pull. Well, you have to do it within the 3.4 update, right? So it becomes a bit of an issue, right? Uh the dude voice acting, I just don't care for the owl. It's Albert, bro. He's our dude. He's our goat. So yeah, I do want to specify that, right? Which of course I for one will not be pulling on Kevin, but let's say you're pulling a Sunday rerun, which most players should do. It's going to be nice that this will contribute to this actual count, right? 200 overall pulls on any of the limited banners. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Anyways, we're back here. I'm gonna talk over myself a little bit here, so it might be a little weird, but this is a little bit of the conversation I had earlier with chat on like this new system, right, with getting the free weapon, right? I do want to play this because I do think it's important to have a conversation over. As long as I can use YouTube appropriately, right? Let's increase the speed. There we go. I think are the most important part of this live stream, because that is very interesting. Granted, it does suck for anybody who doesn't have 200 pulls ready, but at the same time, they did tell us about this like a year ago. So while I'm not here like defending the gacha company, they told us about the collab a year ago. That's what I was saying. Just saying is that people could have prepared for the collab. Um, that's all, right? Obviously, nobody was expecting us to get a free light cone if you've got enough pulls, but I actually do think this is pretty cool. And if you don't have enough pulls, well, this is lasting for more than 3 updates apparently. So you have plenty of time to just throw pulls at the banners whenever you want to, right? It is nice though for the people that do have 200 pulls though, because they are able to, of course, get everything pretty easily, right? Um, Also, a year ago I didn't know I would like Archer that much. Yeah, well, that is true. That is true. I intended to put out a video talking about Fate for Star Rail fans, and I still will. But yeah, I don't know. I like this that we are getting the opportunity to get a free light cone. I just will say that 200 pulls seems a little excessive considering the pity is 90, but at the same time, theoretically you could go 180 pulls without, or 179 pulls without pulling the character, right? So like at that point, getting a free light cone out of it is okay. But the problem is that this light cone is going to be for hunt characters and probably tailored around Archer, who is free. But yeah, I don't know. 200 just seems a bit excessive. Again, I think it's cool that they are giving out a free light cone. Just the actual number for it is a bit excessive in my opinion. It would make sense if it lasted like, let's say 3 updates or so, like while Archer was still free. That would make sense. Uh, but the one thing I will say is that at least every summon counts towards it. So that way, if you are pulling for Heaven or like the rerun banners, it counts towards this. Yeah, it's pretty much what I already said, and I do go on a little bit about this specifically, and how it's like to encourage people to pull on the other banner and so on and so on, right? And I know this is more of reiterating what I already said, but I just wanted to, specify specifically that because some people might not be happy or might be upset that they're not gonna be able to get this because they don't have enough pulls that update. And I do think that is unfortunate, right? In an ideal world, it would last longer and or be the less number of pulls, right? That's like the main thing. But I think we'll end the video at that because that's basically everything, right? I don't think there's anything else to talk about. So yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe. Be on Twitch. If you do have any questions, you can ask them down below. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.